this is a bit of alright, isn't it? Yeah, I've been active for marriage equality for a fair while now. But I tell you what, like Sally, I was a little bit slow on the uptake. Because I was that regional kid that struggled to come to terms with my sexuality. I was terrified that my parents were going to kick me out. I was terrified of violence that I was going to be subjected to in schools. And I was terrified of what my future held because I didn't have access to the institution of marriage. The government is telling me and telling us that as soon as we realise our sexuality or gender identity is different from others, we don't have access to this institution. And that's got to stop. I love the fact that I'm in the rain with you guys. I felt guilty back there. I'm so sorry.
It's only a rain on the parade.
What's the best thing about rain? It's rainbow season. Look, I've attended rallies in Sydney, in Melbourne, and my hometown of Canberra. And I told my hometown that I was so proud of them because they had the biggest rally in Australia for 2015. I got to go back and tell them that you guys beat them. Now, of course, we're close to marriage equality. We really are. It's such an exciting time. Our allies are coming out of the woodwork, and that's what we need to achieve reform. In this crowd, and in all the crowds of every other rally that I've been to, I've seen mums. I've seen dads. I've seen brothers and sisters. I've seen aunts, uncles, neighbours, colleagues. And I'm seeing grandmas and grandpas. They all want marriage equality. Look, to get to marriage equality, there's some paperwork that we've got to do. There's a piece of legislation that desperately wants the coalition to have a talk about.
In August.
The Prime Minister said, only 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago at best, that this reform is so important that we need to have a piece of legislation that Parliament can own. Coalition MPs have provided that legislation. But we need a party room discussion. And we need it when? No, August. So what do we want? When do we want it? Okay, let's do a bit of theatre here. So there's a pathway here, and I want to demonstrate something. Everyone to the left, I'm going to ask you the question, you guys shut up. Alright? So what do we want? When do we want it? Okay, good. You guys now, you guys shut up. What do we want? When do we want it? Yeah, that's okay too. Okay, now let's do it together. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? That is an example of working together. Our Parliament needs to work together on this reform. We need to push them to work together on this reform. We've got a telephone number, a 1300 number, and I want you guys to break it. It is a telephone number where if you leave a message, it goes to every one of your MPs and your senators. It goes straight to their office, they hear it, and I want them to hear it. So I want you to get your phones out. I want you to record this message down, and after this, I want you to break our system. Okay, you're getting your phones out. While you're getting your phones out, I'm going to do one last... What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Okay, so you got your phones out? Okay, the number is... Let's hope I can remember it. 1300. Sorry, I've been told to wait. Are you ready now?
Yeah.
Okay. 1300 663 679. I hope that's right. If it's not, it's on our website. 1300 663 679. You can call and leave a message and share it with your MPs and senators. One phone call could make the difference. As Brian said, we want you to call the electorate office as well. Make a meeting. Write them a letter. Write letters to the editor. Make sure your MPs hear you. Make sure you enrol your friends and family, neighbours, colleagues, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, neighbours to actually help us achieve this reform, because they want this too. One more time. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Thank you.
For all the latest news, log on to OutinPerth.com.